Hello everyone, welcome back to our Scratch programming series. In today's lessons, we're going to learn about controlling our Scratch projects using conditionals. And through this process, we will learn about some other blocks of code that we might not have used yet. In programming, a condition is a statement that can be either true or false. Conditions allow us to control what happens in our project based on specific criteria. All right, we're going to start with the if-then block of code, and we're going to use this block of code to make our sprite jump. Okay, in order to do that, let's go to the events category. We'll start with when the green flag clicked. And then to do this, we're also going to learn about a loop. We're going to use this forever loop because we want this action to be able to happen throughout the program. Next, we can go ahead and take the if-then block of code and put that here. Now, we're going to use it to show that if a certain key is pressed, then a specific action will happen. So to do that, we're going to go to the sensing category, and we're going to use this block of code, if key, and you can pretty much change this to any of the keys on the keyboard as well. And we're going to put if the space is pressed, then we're going to want our sprite to jump. So to do that, since this works on an XY grid, we are going to change the Y, and we're going to put change Y by 100. And then I would put change Y by negative 100. And you'll notice that when I hit this green flag and press the space, you don't notice him jumping. So in order to do that, you're going to need to use a different block of code from the control category, which makes it wait in between it moving on the y-axis up, and then it'll pause for a second, and you can then change the y-axis to have it come down. And you can always, if you feel like he's staying in the air too long, you can always change that and lessen that to 0.5. Maybe you can test that out. All right, now let's explore the if then else block of code. And to do that, what we're going to have is have our sprite ask a question and then respond depending on what the answer is. So we're going to start with events, and we'll bring out when the green flag is clicked. And whenever you want your sprite to talk or say something, you can go through the looks. But if you want them to ask a question and then do something with that answer, you're going to go to sensing category and bring out this question, ask what's your name, and you can obviously change that to whatever question you want to ask. Anytime you bring out the question block, you're also going to want to bring out the answer block because you're going to do something with the answer. And so since we want them to respond based off of a specific answer, we'll kind of give the user a choice by asking them what is or which color do you prefer, blue or red? And then here is where we'll go to the control, and we can drag out the if then else block. And what we're going to put here is we're going to use a block of code from the operators category. And you're going to bring out the equal sign. It has numbers. You can use numbers, or you can put words in there. And so we're going to drag this answer block right in the beginning and say if the answer equals blue, then the sprite is going to say me too. And then pretty much this else means if there's any other color or anything else basically that's not blue that's typed into the response, it will respond with whatever block of code we put in this little section. So we will have him say, I prefer blue. And so now we can test this out. He asked the question, which color do you prefer, blue or red? We'll type in blue first. And then he says, me too. I will show you which color do you prefer if the person blue or red, and the user types in red. He will say, I prefer blue, but just to show you that it's pretty much going to be anything. You can put in a different color like purple. and he'll still say, I prefer blue. You can essentially put in anything, just some gibberish, and it'll still respond with, I prefer blue. So that's kind of what, just to help you understand how that code works. Okay, before we explore the next block of conditionals, let's go ahead and get rid of this big block of code since it might interrupt what we're going to do. Okay, we're going to now explore with the wait until block of code, and we're gonna kind of create a little game out of this. So what we're gonna need to do first is go ahead and go and choose a sprite, and we're gonna choose a ball. And then we are going to want our ball to travel across so that our sprite has to jump over the ball. So I'm gonna move, or I wanna show y'all something pretty cool about the motion blocks. Keep your eyes on the X and Y's in these different blocks, because whenever you move your sprite, those X's and Y's are going to change. It's not really doing that. There you go. I was just moving it too much off of the screen. So now that it's here, it's going to show you on the grid, on this invisible grid that's here, where the ball is located. Okay, and this can be very helpful when you're trying to put your sprites at specific spots of the screen. And so what we're going to do is we're going to click on events and go to the when the green flag is clicked, and then we're going to go to the control category. And I want this to happen the whole time until it runs into the cat. And so we're going to use a forever block. And then we're going to go to our motion category. And I do want it, I'm going to move it just a little bit more, like where it's almost off the screen. And let me just move it a little bit up. And so I want it to every time go to that specific spot. So I want it to start there. So this is telling it where to go. And then I want it to glide across the screen. Now I don't want it to move up or down. So my Y is going to stay the same. But my X, since I want it to be on the opposite side of the screen, all I need to do is change the X to a negative 234. And that should basically bring that ball right into this area here. Now, this will get the ball to slide across, and I'll show you that real quick. However, it doesn't, it'll, even if the sprite does not jump over it, nothing's going to happen. That ball is just going to keep traveling across the screen. So in order for it to be somewhat like a game where there is a consequence, we'll go ahead and bring out, this is where we can use that new control block of wait until. We'll bring that one out. We'll go back to events and connect this to start it. So when the green flag is pressed, it's going to do this, and then it's going to be waiting until we're going to go to sensing to bring out the touching. And we're going to change this mouse pointer to sprite 1 because that is the name of our cat. You can always change these names if you want to. And then instead of saying sprite 1, it would say whatever name you had changed for the sprite. So we want it to wait until it's touching the sprite. And what we want to happen is we want to basically end the game, right? So we want it to stop all coding. And so now if I press the green button, once it touches the sprite, it stops. And so we can press the green button again. But now you'll notice if he jumps over the ball, then it continues to go there. It continues to go across the screen until it touches him. Well, that's it for today's lesson on conditionals in Scratch. You've learned how to use the 2 if blocks to make your Scratch projects interactive and responsive to user inputs. We also covered how to use the wait until block to create a simple interactive game. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial and found it helpful. Stay tuned for our next lesson where we'll learn about variables and how to use them to keep score or just store specific information for later use.